Greetings everyone and welcome to this video. This is early January 2018 and I have decided to make this video due to an overwhelming global precedence of information, be it correct or incorrect, about President Donald Trump's emotional status, I guess you could say, and in part this is due to the book that has just recently been released called Fire and Fury by Michael Wolff. I haven't read the book, it's not actually available in New Zealand at this point in time. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the tarot cards as a way of assessing mental health for him. Now I cannot access any information via Donald Trump's spirit guides. That is not available for anyone to do actually. That is sort of locked and loaded. But what we can do is connect with celestial energies and have them come in and provide information about the state of his health, both mental and physical. Now I'm using these cards here. These are the Morgan Greer deck and they are all facing the right way up at this point in time. So I'm going to show you that just to prove that there is no underhand anything going on. Now the top 10 cards for evaluating mental health in a client actually do require some of them to be reversed. So in this instance, because we are looking at a mental health or the health status of a person through their intellectual or mental status, we will be reversing some of these cards. Now I'm not going to halt the video or anything else, so while I am shuffling I will just take a few from the top. It doesn't have to be many, that many for instance. I will reverse them and then carry on shuffling. Now these reversals may or may not turn up in the reading, but to obtain an accurate diagnosis of a mental health profile, as I said, some of the cards need to be reversed, because when they are reversed they have this implication for mental health issues to be addressed. So we will pull 6 cards out for President Trump and we will see what they are going to show us and tell us in regards to his physical and mental health at this current point in time. Now remember too that a lot of mental health issues are very treatable. There is talk that some people are wondering if he has dementia or a slow slide into Alzheimer's or something along those lines. At this stage they haven't got a remedial or a particularly good treatment for that particular issue. There are a certain amount of things that can slow the process down, I believe. But let's deal the cards for President Trump and see what comes up. The first card is the Four of Swords. The second card is Strength. The third card is the Star. The fourth card is Judgment. The fifth card is the Two of Wands. And the sixth card is the King of Swords. So interestingly enough, at this point, I don't see many of the, and we'll turn that over for the bottom card at the bottom, which is the Three of Cups. None of the top prime 10 mental health cards have actually turned up in a reversed position, and not many of the actual mental health cards are here either. The two that I think would give the most indication of issues are the Four of Swords, and this one the Judgment, and maybe this one the King of Swords. So let's take a quick look at the relevant meanings. The Four of Swords often indicates a time when we need to recuperate or rest or have a break or take time out, because we could be feeling jaded or overworked or over-pressured or under stress. So from that perspective, that is a mental health card, if you like, it is often talking about the fact, and we see clearly in this card, we see the head of this knight shown, so you don't see the body. And if any of you followed one of the videos I made a lot earlier on about Trump, we did a card on his past life, and it came up that he was a knight in a previous life, and again we have this card with him depicting a knight. So and also possibly this one here, which actually does represent himself very well, because he is a Gemini older man, and that's what this card is. But this one up here does say, in particular, those daggers or swords are aiming at this person's head, or that knight's head, indicating that there is a little bit of tempestuous energy going on in the mind or the head, and that he could be needing to refresh or rest. There is another thing here that might be going on around his head, possibly, because we see quite a few examples of close-up heads in the cards. We see 1, 2, 3, and then we see a star over this head, and we see something over this head as well. So if we dig a little bit deeper, we are getting some messages about action around the head or the mind. So, it's understandable. He holds one of the most powerful positions in the free world, if you like, and because of the position he holds, in the end, inevitably, some of the decisions he makes will also affect me as being a citizen in the free world. That is why I have an interest in his health as well. I obviously, while he is in power, I want him to be as healthy and normalised as he possibly can, so that he doesn't make irrational choices or decisions that could affect us in a negative way. Hence the reading. So, yeah, the Four of Swords, I think, for him is talking about pressure or stress or something going on in his head or his mind. And the daggers can implicate pain in the head, or they're showing us there's something about his head, but they're not giving too many specifics here. The next card we've got is Strength. Now this is a great card to get. So this is actually boding fairly well for some sort of physical strength, I feel. He doesn't look particularly weak, or as if his physical strength is weak. And certainly he is able to perform his daily duties. We've never seen him take ill. He doesn't seem to suffer from colds or flus a great deal, or he doesn't seem to have had any other particular physical weaknesses. So I think we're getting the sign here that his physical strength is actually fairly good. And I mean, he's not a young man, so that's a very good indication. We come to the star next, and we see here this woman, and she's pouring water from 2 jugs, one into a pool of water and one onto the land. Now, often this card talks about the need for balance, and it just tells us that you can harmonise things and you can find balance within your life, and that at this point in time there could be a need for balance. The star usually adds a lot of positivity to any reading, so it's known as a very positive card. In fact, the 3 major arcanas in a row indicate this is quite a poignant time for him, that there is some sort of change going on that is being driven galactically beyond his own reasoning or beyond his own making. It's coming in from a much larger source. The star often also says that there are protectors around him of some sort. Now sometimes these are celestial protectors, so people who have passed over, such as a guardian angel or other angelic beings that are helping to support him. But the card from a pure health perspective talks about the need to balance, in particular your emotional states, and then it can say you are sometimes feeling out of balance, and sometimes maybe slightly driven by hormonal perspectives, we can become a little bit irrational and unbalanced. So that's another sort of meaning of the star card, especially when we are referring to health. I think it's also very prudent that the star card always talks about dietary information, and especially about rehydrating the body with water. So I think something that he could do for himself that would be really beneficial is to drink more water and to cleanse his body, to have it functioning really well, and also to watch his diet. Now we come to the fourth card and we see the Judgment card. It has always been a little bit gloomy, and some people have been wary of it in the past. They panic and think, oh my God, these people are in a coffin. Does that mean we're dying or something? And the answer to that is no, it doesn't. But it often means that changes are coming, and they signify great changes at a very deep personal level, and sometimes it's a shift in your perception of what you believe, or how you see things, or how you hear things as well. So I often note with this big trumpet up here and right across the head that again there's activity in the brain and the mind. So with this one, it can literally indicate hearing problems. So possibly he might not be hearing too well at the moment, and that could be a physical hearing impairment, or it could be just not hearing what people are saying to him correctly. So he could be miscalculating what people are saying or misinterpreting it one way or another. And again, we have this massive energy or activation of something over the head or the mind. So again, this is kind of insinuating to me that there is possibly something going on within his mind that is either he doesn't fully understand it, or there's some pain in there. Like it's either ear pain or up in the top of the head, like maybe a headache, or like something, you know, banging on his head as if to say, wake up, or do something, or listen to me, something along those lines. He's not fully comprehending it yet himself, I don't think either. We come down to this one, the Two of Pentacles. It doesn't really bode any information on health at any level. It's quite benign. It seems fine. It's a card that often talks about career and looking into the future to ponder where your career goes and how you are moving forward with it. So I think this is more just possibly about the political side and perhaps planning or movement. The twos do represent the need for balance, again, a little bit like this card up here, to just make sure that there is balance. And also this wand over here is being held by a different hand, so it sometimes suggests to us that, you know, listen to other pieces of information coming in. So don't think that you have all the answers. Don't forget to balance logically and intellectually evidence and information that is coming into you. So that's the only thing I can think of for that card. Now with the King of Swords, this is representative of an air sign person, and he is a Gemini, so this could just be him being himself. But often when I see a sword like this up here on its own, and also when I see this one over here, this can be symbolic of a small operation or a surgery coming. So even though we've agreed that he seems to be in fairly good physical strength, health, there might be something that turns up soon, I would have thought, that implies he needs either a small operation, or he cuts himself, or he ends up with a bandages or plasters, or out of action for a couple of days due to some, what I would call relatively minor possible surgery or cut or accident, something along those lines. So really that's kind of covered off at the moment for him, the mental health business, so the mental, emotional and physical health for Donald Trump in January. As I said, there are a few indicators here that there's something going on in his head or his mind. I'm not entirely sure what it is. At this stage, it's not anything yet that is of major concern, but it's possibly just a bit of fatigue, or a little bit of overtiredness, a little bit of hearing issues possibly, or some sort of pressure in his head. Yeah, or possible, there is the big question that people are asking, is he suffering some signs of dementia? I think only those closer to him would be able to assimilate that. You need to be able to look at their day-to-day activities at a very close level, because often when dementia starts to kick in, it's just the little things that are picked up. So I can't clarify that from this reading at this point. So thanks for joining me, guys. Leave your comments, keep them civilized. The reading has not been fabricated, it is not false in any way. Just watch how it plays out. Don't make rude comments to other people. If you have your own opinions or political beliefs, that's fine, but keep them clean and wholesome without bullying, or you will be removed from the channel. So thanks everyone. Have a healthy, happy, safe January. Take care. Namaste.